mentioned to you on yesterday's program that my favorite thing about the first day of OTAs isn't really the newness of anything, including the new players and everything, because we just saw and spoke with all of them at the rookie minicamp. It's seeing everybody again for the first time in 5 months who was there before. Good morning to you. Good Wednesday morning. I'm Dejan Kovacevic of DK Pittsburgh Sports. This is Daily Shot of Steelers. It comes your way bright and early every weekday. If you're into hockey and or baseball, I also offer daily shots of Penguins and Pirates, the other two teams in town that I cover year-round. I hope you'll check those out as well. Day one of OTAs really didn't come with headlines. These seldom do. If you're the attendance-taking type, I'll remind that this is a wholly voluntary event. So TJ Watt not being there means about as much as Cam Hayward being there means about as much as Cam not having been there last year and then going on to have tremendous 2024 season that he did. If there's one player that I might pick on for not being there, it'd be Juan Thornhill. He's a new safety. He's a vet, but, dude. Otherwise, stuff played out the way it's been expected to play out. Broderick Jones at left tackle, Troy Fautanu at right tackle. And as I'd also shared with you in advance, that it had happened this way, Mason Rudolph carried himself with complete class as it relates to the Aaron Rodgers situation.
Well, that's nothing new to me. There's been constant noise. That is the nature of the NFL. So I am been used to that for a long time now. Do nothing but be the best I can be and help our team get better this spring.
Awesome, and that was that. As far as anything remotely newsy. So what I did with my time there was invested it in conversations. I don't have a hard count on this, but it was definitely more than a dozen players. And one of them was Patrick Queen, who had his moments last season. He also had his down moments. He would be the first to share that stance with you. And I know this because he was sharing that with me throughout the season, but especially at the beginning when he was struggling with being the green dot guy. And as you'll hear in our exchange here, I reminded him that the green dot's not going to be anybody's excuse in 2025. Can you imagine how different this season will be for you without having to go through the whole green dot thing again?
Oh, man.
You and I talked about it all last season. But I'm still and I remember you in Las Vegas telling me, I'm still working on it and whatever. But now you've been here.
Yeah, it's like second nature now. I mean, I freaking put my helmet on and I just hear them talking. I'm like, okay, cool, we're back to it. So I think that whole year to get used to a new defense, get used to being a signal caller, just all that stuff, I think that's out the window now. I think it's just more time for me to show up every single down, every single game. I think all that stuff's in the past. No more excuses. I just got to be about it.
Just play football.
Yeah, just play football. It's that simple.
Now, this stuff matters. It's not the sexy headlines and Rudolph versus Aaron Rodgers fair that, look, I do it too because it's relevant. But when the season comes along, and I don't mean training camp, preseason, I'm talking about the actual football, the number that's going to start getting thrown around yet again is the 299 because that defense was out there for that 299. And Queen was in charge of that defense, at least on the field. And he knows that green dot or not, he has to be a better tackling linebacker than he was. He knows that he can't allow for distractions. He also knows that he's going to have at least a couple of new faces there in front of him, depending on how much Derek Harmon and Y.A. Black participate on the line. I remain of the opinion that Queen is capable of being an impact player on an every Sunday basis. I'm of the opinion that Queen was never, as the Baltimore Trolls love to point out, dependent in any way, shape, or form on Roquan Smith for his success with the Ravens. I very much remain of the opinion that Queen really wants this. He wants to have a truly great season. He wants to have an all-pro type season at inside linebacker. Now, what exactly that'd look like, it's hard to tell. The position's changed a lot. Used to be that all the tackles were funneled to the inside or the middle linebacker, and you would just count tackles at the end of the year and say, oh, there it is, Hardy Nickerson's the best. Now it's almost even between stopping the pass and stopping the run. Queen has showed himself again at times to be highly effective in both areas. It can't be at times. He is going to have one significant change, and that's not having a Landon Roberts, but having a healthy, presumably, and he did participate yesterday, Cole Holcomb. Holcomb, as we saw before his gruesome injury, was an impact guy. He arrived in Pittsburgh from Washington as an impact guy, and that was doubly true with his coverage. So how they put this group together is going to be fascinating, including, obviously, Peyton Wilson. But I don't know about you, but I still view that position, inside linebacker, as the area that I look first when it comes to stopping the run. If someone's getting through your line, okay, go ahead and address it. But if someone's getting through your line and your linebackers, you've got real problems. And I appreciate Queen, not just yesterday, but throughout his time here, in being just as open and honest as he's been about his own performance, about the defense's performance. That's a start. You can't fix a problem until you acknowledge that problem. When we come back, J1Q.
This segment of Daily Shot is brought to you by our good friends at Mike's Beer Bar. They're located on Federal Street, directly across from PNC Park. Mike has more than 500 beers on tap, including from more than 50 local breweries. Stop in and say hello. Tell Mike we sent you. Mike's Beer Bar.
Today's J1Q comes from Kevin, and it's regarding the perception that some listeners and viewers and readers seem to have that when I say that I don't know or care about Aaron Rodgers' personal or political things, that I'm just, making it up. This is from Kevin. DK, I respect your position on Rodgers. I always respect your position, and while his personal matters may very well not sway you one bit, it feels very disingenuous to say you are completely clueless about anything he has ever done or said off the field. Someone who lives under a rock would know some portion of the Aaron Rodgers off-the-field saga, let alone someone as plugged in as you. I think what's turning people off is that you're making a case that you know nothing about anything he's ever said off the field, and that comes across as incredibly off-putting to the average person. It makes people feel, fairly or unfairly, that you're actually having the opinions you have of him because of his off-field beliefs and statements. Feels to me that people would be much more accepting of this from you if you simply said you obviously know about his off-the-field beliefs and it doesn't matter one iota to you. Here's what we're going to do today, Kevin. Once and for all, I'm going to lay out for you what precious little I actually know about Rodgers off the field. And after that, I'm going to lay out for you why I really couldn't care less to know more. The one thing that I'd ever heard about him that sounded controversial was that he'd allegedly made remarks about the Sandy Hook school shooting in Connecticut being a hoax. I looked into that, and it took me about 2 seconds to find out that he flatly denied it and that he spoke passionately on behalf of the surviving families. The end. That's it. I will occasionally see, hear, or read someone describe Rodgers as having controversial beliefs or things that he says that swing in one direction, whether it's politically or whatever. Put a gun to my head and I couldn't identify one of them for you. Let me tell you a little bit about myself, Kevin. I cover 3 teams in Pittsburgh. The Steelers play 20 games, including the preseason. The Penguins play 88 games, including the preseason. The Pirates play 192 games, including spring training. I live, eat, sleep, and breathe covering these three teams. I don't cover one with any greater intensity than the other. If you only hear the Steelers show, you might think that this is just all I do and that I watch all the football shows and I tune into ESPN or SportsCenter or the various shout fests that they have. I can promise you very safely that I do not do that. Why? A, I don't have the time. B, I couldn't care less. My hands are full with the three teams that I cover and the 100+ athletes involved in those teams, plus the various prospects associated specifically with the Penguins and the Pirates. When a player makes it to Pittsburgh, I'm all in. I just did a segment on Patrick Queen. When Queen arrived, Landon Roberts introduced me to Queen. And I spent pretty much the entirety of an open locker room session just getting to know Queen and who he is. It was the first thing I'd ever known about him other than however it was that he would perform in the 2 meetings against Pittsburgh in a given season. That's how I operate. That's how I do this job. And beyond this job, I have other interests. I've been collecting superhero comics, specifically Green Lantern, my entire life. I still go every Wednesday to Ides downtown to get my new books. I am passionate about music, as you might have picked up. Played the guitar. Have flown to concerts all over the globe to see the bands that I love. I am deeply invested in global news. I read global news probably first and foremost in my free time. I also happen to have a family. Wonderful wife and 2 wonderful kids. Both of them in their early 20s and both of them still kind of needing their dad. So to go back to part of your comment, someone who lives under a rock, you say, would know some portion of Aaron Rodgers' off-the-field saga. I'm under a rock, dude. In your world, I'm under a rock. I don't know about him. I don't care about him. I don't even say that in some mean and cynical way. I didn't know about Patrick Queen and didn't care about Patrick Queen. Really like him a lot now. Gotten to know him. Why? Because I had to get to know him. He's here. He's in Pittsburgh. He's now in my coverage zone. This is what I do for a living. So to anyone and everyone who's suggesting that this is disingenuous, how could you not know? I don't. And I also don't care. I care about covering the Steelers, the Penguins, and the Pirates. I care about the city of Pittsburgh. I care about people who are fans of any of those 3 teams and this city. So if you're going to wait for me to admit that I secretly have all this knowledge about Rodgers and I hate him for this reason or that reason or whatever, you're going to be waiting an awfully long time because I'm not, as a reporter, in the business of lying to anybody. I appreciate those of you who have approached this subject in a mature way. I appreciate those of you who have approached this subject as I have, which is to judge Rodgers' value to the Steelers as a quarterback. What I see when I look at Rodgers and the Steelers is a 41, soon to be 42-year-old, meaning in December, quarterback who's going to be brittle, who's not going to be anything like what he was, and who, based on his behavior this particular offseason, since it's related to Pittsburgh, doesn't seem anywhere near as invested in the Steelers as the people who are currently with the Steelers. If and when Rodgers ever arrives, I'll make the same effort to learn about him as I did with Queen and as I've done with countless other athletes. Right now, I'm not wasting my time with it because, get ready for it, I don't care. We're going to have another one of these tomorrow, but don't forget that we also have today at 4 p.m. a live double shot that's available on our YouTube channel and, of course, on the DK Pittsburgh Sports app and website. Thanks so much to everybody for listening.